Hi guys, my name is Barry and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to my Scream videos where I talk about the victims and the reasons that they're chosen by the Ghostface killers, as well as talking about the Ghostface killer's motives in the film. Now Scream 6 is a complicated one to begin with, but once you get used to it, then it's fine. Now the killers in this film at the beginning are Greg Buckner and Jason Carver. Now their reasons for killing people, even though they didn't kill anyone yet, but they still had a motive, they wanted to finish Richie's movie. And that's simply it. However, they didn't get a chance to do that because they were both killed by the real killers in the film, and that is the Bailey family. They consist of Wayne Bailey, Quinn Bailey and Ethan Landry. Now Ethan Landry's obviously got a different name because he didn't want them to know that he was related to Wayne and Quinn, so it made sense for Ethan to change his name. But then we find out that they all changed their name, or at least Richie changed his name, because they are related to Richie. Ethan and Quinn are brother and sister to Richie, and Wayne is the father of all of them. So in the words of Nancy Loomis from Scream 2,
"Mine is just good old-fashioned revenge."
They were just getting some good old-fashioned revenge. Funnily enough, that's a reference and a motive from Scream 2, and essentially this is a remake of Scream 2. Scream 5 was a requel/remake of Scream 1, and this one, as you can see, is a requel/remake of the original Scream 2. Laura Crane was the first victim in this film, and she was killed by Jason, not even by the main killers, and the reason that she died was she was simply just a tester for Jason and Greg. Now Greg didn't know about it because he was already dead at this point, but Jason wanted to go out and have a taste of his own. He thought she was an easy target, and he was testing himself because she knew a little bit about horror, but she didn't know enough because she went into the lane. But she was ultimately just a test victim for Jason to begin with. Next up, we've got Jason and Greg. I know that Greg obviously died before Laura, or he most likely died before Laura, but we'll include him with Jason because they both died for the same reason. And the reason is they were supposed to be framed for being the Ghostface killers. The Wayne Bailey already put the name of the warehouse into their name, so it looked like they were Scream fanatics, which they were Scream fanatics, or at least Richie fanatics, and because the Bailey family knew about this, then they just wanted to frame Jason and Greg. Therefore, those two were victims. Next up, we've got the two bodega guys in the bodega shop. Now it's interesting but also lazy at the same time because those were obviously just in the way, and that's it. There were two guys in the way of Sam and Tara, so they had to die. So there's no motive behind the killings. However, because of the motive of the Bailey family is revenge, then it seems like they don't have a clear plan of who they're going after next. It seems like Wayne Bailey is the muscle and he's not the brains behind their organisation. The kids seem a little bit more brainy behind who they're choosing and why they're choosing them. So when it comes to the bodega kills, it's just rough and they're just in the way because he really wants revenge for what happened to Richie. I would also say that even though the victims weren't chosen smartly, anytime people did die, then there was clues left at the crime scenes, like the masks from the previous killers, that shows that whoever's killing people knows about the past and has evidence from past killings. Dr. Christopher Stone is up next, and this was interesting at the time because I initially thought he was killed so that whoever the Ghostface killer was could get information on Sam Carpenter. However, when we find out who the killers were, we already know that they know everything about Sam Carpenter anyway. They're only killing Dr. Stone so that they can put the cops onto Sam, because Sam was already a suspect before the killings began because people were blaming Sam for killing Richie. Maybe Sam was the killer and framed Richie. So their motive was to get revenge on Sam so that Sam could be a suspect again, and with Dr. Stone dying, then Sam is automatically a suspect. Next up, we've got the off-screen death of Paul, who is Quinn's lover, and again he's just cannon fodder for this film. Anika Kayoko, I feel like she doesn't have a reason for dying because she seems to me like she's in the wrong place at the wrong time. I know that the Bailey family really wanted to do a number on Sam. She wasn't really close to Anika, so I feel like there's no reason for killing Anika to get back to Sam. Maybe trying to get to Tara, but ultimately they're just killing Mindy's girlfriend, so they're really just getting revenge on Mindy. For what reason? There's no reason, so I just feel like Anika was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Lastly, we've got Brooks, and I feel like he was killed in the same fashion as Anika. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time, Ghostface wanted to get to Gail Weathers, and to get to her, they had to get through Brooks. Yes, they were probably lovers, or she was his girlfriend, so killing him, maybe it should have been a sad moment for her, but she was still thinking of Dewey, so I don't think she really cared about Brooks at all. So he, to me, was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and also just cannon fodder. It also annoys me that Brooks was the last victim on the list in this film, and they still had a good portion of the movie to go. So between Brooks' death and the end of the movie, no victims died in the film. It was just the bad guys, just the Ghostface killers that died. That was very weak. Looking back on all the Scream movies that we've got so far, I feel like Scream 6 is the weakest in terms of an overall thought out process, because Bailey just really wanted revenge. It seems like, do you know what? For a film, not a Scream film, but for any film, it's a good motive to go out and go on a killing spree and go after the person that you really want to kill. That's good for a normal movie, but for a Scream film, you had to have a bit of a plan. Now, I thought that Scream 5's was a weak script because of what they done, but at least it had an idea there. The idea wasn't executed as well as I thought it should have been, but they had an idea. But with Scream 6, it's almost like they had no idea. No idea at all. So when it comes to looking at all the Scream films, the laziest in the whole entire franchise are the two newest movies, Scream 5 and Scream 6. So when you look back on all the Scream films, it seems obvious that the last two movies should be the worst in the franchise. I know that Scream 3 gets a bad rep now and again, but there's a motive and a deep meaning behind what's happening in the film. So I think you can look back on Scream 3 with a bit of fondness now because what they tried to do. Whereas in Scream 5 and 6, it just seems to me was quite lazy. So if we do get a Scream 7, which I'm sure we will eventually, they need to go back to the drawing board. We no longer need to accept these hashed out, half-hearted scripts that have no motive or meaning behind it, no depth to it. If you're going to execute something well, do it well. If you're going to have a good idea, execute it well. Don't do what you've done with Scream 5. The idea was good, it just wasn't very well executed. And then Scream 6, to me, was just a rush job. I actually done a video on the announcement of Scream 6 when it got announced, and I thought, that's quite soon. And then when we find out the release date for it, I'm like, that's even sooner. And when you watch Scream 6, you can tell, because it is definitely the laziest out of the entire franchise. So what are your thoughts on that, guys? I don't even want to give you my example because I can't even think of a good one in this entire movie, but you let me know what you think the best motive and the best reason for choosing a victim is down below. Remember, it's not the best kill, it's the best reason for choosing your victim. Leave those comments down below, guys. Let me know what you think. And as always, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you soon.
Meeting adjourned.
I'll be right back.
What are you waiting for, huh?
Coming to get you, Barbara.
Ever played Skin the Cat?
I want to know!